few more tips in the second hand before we can get started here this morning. Seriously. Possible to break it on where they are. You break it, you buy it. Those are only about 9,200 apiece.
Well, I said, I ain't gonna one. You got all kinds of protection.
Come on in, come on in. What's that? You're not supposed to record this, you're not gonna go back and wait Okay, well, she's meeting after this. You all right? Pretty much we'll get home like that after the meeting. Great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Hill County Commissioners Court. This Tuesday, 2028. We are being recorded. Let the record reflect that this meeting is posted according to Texas Government Code 551, better known as Texas Open Meetings Act. A quorum of commissioners is present. Commissioner Hawkins will not be with us this morning. He has a family medical issue that he needs to deal with, so we keep him in your prayers. And we're at the same time, we are simulcasting the live stream, as we said nowadays, on our YouTube channel. We have everybody sign up to speak online. Nope. All right, so the 8 o'clock deadline went too fast. So at this time, before we get underway, if we could, probably could you give us an invitation?
Let us pray. Almighty and merciful God, thank you for the gift of another day. Help us to make the best of every opportunity to serve you as we serve our neighbor and our community. We pray that you provide your wisdom and your guidance to Judge Lewis, our county commissioners, to all who gathered here this morning to discuss and make decisions that will affect the people who live, work, and travel throughout Hill County. We pray for our nation and president, the state of Texas, and our governor, and for all whom you have placed in positions of public service. Provide your protection to those who serve in our military, and for all law enforcement officers and first responders. We pray especially for those fighting fires and drought in California, Oregon, Arizona, and throughout our western states. May your peace rest upon them and upon us all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Good moment and pledge American and Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
All right. Thank you everybody for being with us this morning. Appreciate it. Precinct 1 today.
Precinct 1, we are working on paper roads, trying to. We don't need any more rain, so we're just praying for this rain. This is stop that. But we're getting ready to start doing some work on some asphalt roads before we completely lose them. And trying to get some more equipment running and a little short-handed, but we're making it.
Short-handed is always the case around there.
Unfortunately. Let's get going precinct 2 first.
We have completed over 8 miles of chip seal roads.
Wow.
The weather has been a havoc with us, but we plan to finish another couple of miles probably tomorrow and move on to another couple of little projects. But, in between that, cutting trees out of the road, looking at culverts and changing culverts out when we can.
Stay busy.
Staying busy.
Commissioner Crump. Commissioner Lake.
You need to give him a tip.
Yeah. What's going on precinct 4?
We're spraying road ditches again, and we'll switch the culverts. We've got probably 30 culverts put in, so we've got them all moving and just start.
Bill, is that an IT role?
Working on
on the cameras over at the sport building today to get them feeding into a different camera server so that we're not experiencing the bandwidth issue that we've had. Also still working with excellent to get that connection. Yes, sir. It'll happen. Other than that, it's mostly business as usual.
Good deal. Mr. Armstrong, our council's office room today. I'm not sure, maybe it's not yours.
Yeah, didn't give you some marching orders yet?
I'm gonna be made it for the rest of the week. Oh, yeah, brother. Not in bad shape in the hospital, no, I'm sorry to hear that. I've got to be constable and secretary. I'm sorry, you're at the job. They're gonna have to work with you.
Sheriff, how are you this morning?
Good.
How's things? Everything going all right?
Good. We got the AEDs, the ESPs, got our AEDs to us. We went through the training on all the cars. And in the jail, we're averaging 160 to 170 population. Staying right in between years, so it's pretty high population.
Has TDCJ been coming and picking folks up like they should be, or?
Not like they were. It's better than it was, but we're still that's still presenting somewhat of a challenge.
I suspect most of the people in that roster probably felony.
Yes, sir.
So, best of luck with that. We'll keep helping the way we can.
Our county attorneys work with us really well in those situations. He's been on top of it. We appreciate the work that he does. Thank you. That helps us out a lot.
Yeah, I know he's got an unthankless job, that's for sure. Any other elected officials, anything, appointed official, anybody want to share with us?
We got things our quarterly reports due this week. So.
That sounds exciting, fun.
Need some info on this.
Oh, she's looking for you.
Yeah, well, I didn't understand what she said. Anyway, I'll come see you after class.
And we did our 3.5 million ARP funds on July 1st.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's the first half of the sum of money we're going to get under that. We were told we would receive the same amount 1 year from the day we got it, so the July of next year. These are the funds that we'll be using going forward with certain limitations for improvement of county facilities to kind of COVID proof ourselves going forward, get better prepared for that stuff. The other thing on that same thing, bringing that up, if you are in Hill County, if you are a city, a municipal city that has a city council, you need to look into applying for these funds because the city of Aquila qualifies for these funds. It's the Coronavirus Local Relief Fund. It's part of the Rebuild America Act Fund. So every one of these little cities has got something coming to it if they apply for it. Now the deadline to apply is August 2nd. Justin, why would you say anything about this? Well, if you don't apply, the state gets to keep that money. And I'm not saying the state is not telling people. It is not as advertised as well as I would hope it would be. So part of ours is to get out the word to, Whitney's, Hillsboro's already applied. The Bynums, the Blums, the Hubbards of the world, we've reached out directly to these folks to apply for these funds. If you have water, wastewater, or broadband infrastructure needs, these funds can be used for that. It can be used for certain expenditures regarding first responders, frontline workers, and COVID. It can be used for a narrower expenditure in regards to improving government services, where we prepare for the next pandemic. These are all things that you're going to wind up paying for as a taxpayer, so why shouldn't we get some good out of it? So just want to make that aware to everybody. From this seat, let's move on to that subject. We are seeing a slight uptick in COVID numbers. I'm not going to go back to data reporting to this body anytime soon, but at this point, just be cognizant of the fact there are seeing an uptick in COVID. With that being said, I will ask you to take some actions later in this court, prepare for what I think may be not as pleasant of a fall as we hope we have. Construction wise, in this building, we continue to move forward. Most of the sheetrock work is done. The floor is back in courtrooms upstairs on the second floor. We start sanding operations this week, so that'll be nice and dusty. You have a dust problem, computer, it's going to get ugly. I'm sorry. With a flooring, we'll start either this week or beginning of next. Downstairs room at the JP's office and over here at the jury room. So we continue to move forward with this project. We're still waiting from the MRP group on final plans for both Covington Street, the bid package for Covington Street, and for the Ag Extension building. as soon as we have those final packets, we'll make those available to everybody. Folks are starting this week on the Franklin that we approved 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now. Stuck going up that exposed part of Franklin. They found a way to save money on the project, so I went ahead and granted it. There's a opening right there in front of the tax office. It's not an ADA opening. So what was going to have to happen, they were going to have to expand that since we are a government building, we have to be ADA compliant. So they came up with the idea that they could get a standard door, which is cheaper than the custom door they're going to have to build, and put it over one of those windows that was slightly off center of the building. So I gave my blessing to that. I don't know when mine, but it's a lot cheaper and easier way to get things done. So that's the game plan there. As for other construction, I had a big conversation with John Miller yesterday regarding the property that he's located over in the Whitney area. Continue to move forward with Hillco, but valuation of that property is proving to be somewhat troublesome. Conversations continue, but I'm not any closer to bringing anything to you gentlemen at this time. Last but not least, budget. I had a good update on some rules and laws affecting our budgeting process this year. You know, for many years, we have turned in a budget by the last day of July, not because it was a requirement, but because it was a suggestion in the local government code. Well, House Bill 1357 passed, and there is now a requirement. You have to have a budget in by the 15th day of August. I ain't waiting that long. You're going to get it by the end of July again. We already have our certified numbers from our appraisal district. I like to listen to everybody yesterday say, oh, our appraisal district get our numbers in July. Well, we got ours on July 6th certified. So we have those numbers. We move forward. I think the biggest outlier in our budget right now will be our insurance costs. How those are going to come about. As you heard previously, there was a proposed pretty large increase in those. So we'll see our RFPs come back. The good news is we're having a lot of response to those RFPs. A lot of people seem to be asking questions and put some attention to it. So anyway, we continue to stay busy over here. Budget will take up the rest of the month in my office for the most part. After that, that's what I do. All right, at this point, we're going to open the floor to the open forum. Is there anybody here to speak on an item that is not on the Commissioner's Court agenda this morning? Yes, sir. Come on up. Good. Oh, you're good. Now you come on up. Yeah, he was going to say what he was going to say, whether I invited you to or not. Yeah, come on. If you did decide to identify yourself, please.
Of course, yes. My name is Rory Newenhouse, and I work with the Cleburne Railroaders baseball team. Welcome, everybody. I'm here today to talk to you guys about the Cleburne Railroaders baseball team of Cleburne, Texas. I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar, but we're an independent baseball team in Cleburne and professional at that. And we're going to have Hill County night on July 30th. It's a Friday of this month. We're going to have fireworks, a concert. Hopefully we can have Whiskey Hill play before the game. It's going to be a great time. So I just want you guys to come on out a little bit more about the Railroaders. We're a professional baseball team. We're at the AAA level. 5 of our guys have already gone on to AAA teams for the Mariners, D-backs, Marlins, Reds, and Mariners. So it's a really high level of talent. We've got a great baseball stadium up in Cleburne. It won the 2017 award for the best baseball stadium in independent baseball in all of America. It's a beautiful ballpark, and we have great food, drinks, goatee margaritas, Massey's barbecue, some really, really awesome stuff. So July 30th, put it on your calendars. We want everybody from Cook County to come up. Rodney Watson threw out a first pitch a couple weeks ago. Had a great time.
Did you clear the base?
What's that?
Did you clear the plate?
You just cleared it.
Oh, okay. I have faith in you, Sheriff. I mean, I just want to make sure. Third backs.
But it's going to be a great time. I'm looking to get out Kevin Cordell, constable, who's shot a few weeks ago, have him throw out a first pitch, maybe want to support him and his family. We'd love to do that, but I just want everybody to come on up to Cleburne. It's a great ballpark. You'll have a great time. We'll have fireworks, a concert, and it's for Hill County. So we'll have some discounted tickets for everybody, but I just wanted to make everybody aware. And July 30th, put it on your calendar.
Well, Brian, thank you very much for the invitation. I'll put it on my calendar. Sounds like a good night, Hill County. You don't want to burn down, right? No. Okay, I didn't think so. Make sure we're on the same page.
They told I'm never made a grant.
For those at home, forgive me, it's Mr. Ken Joins, ESD #1 Vice President.
they told me that I needed to let that Greenwood dry for 45 days.
Uh-huh.
And I'm trying to figure out how I can do that between rain.
Don't worry, August will make us all a liar. It'll get dry. Don't worry. It always
So
does.
maybe we've got a few days reprieve right now from the rain.
It looks like we're gonna have about 5 days, but I'll be honest with you, I want to go into meteorology business. Your accuracy level doesn't have to be as high as it does around here.
I just hope that that front settling on the northwest doesn't come here and settle over us.
So, hey, yeah, Mr. Sloan, I'm so sorry. What do you got this morning for us?
No, I'm fine. I was thinking that we hadn't done the pledge, but I think I was like.
Well, thanks for keeping us honest. We'll get better. Appreciate it. All right. Anything else for open forum this morning? If not, we'll run along into our consent agenda. We have action on the minutes of June 22nd, 2000 and I know what year it is, but I can't read it, so I know. Let me get my glasses out. Vanity. I just about wearing them all the time. Action on the invoices, July 13th, 2021. Action on monthly report of revenue and disbursement. You have those in your packet. You will receive them as an email from the treasurer.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any additions, deletions, corrections to the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. So I'm gonna go ahead and start signing these orders and shipping them around. We're gonna move along to our regular agenda, which is discuss and approve employee wage status change. I have before me today, the changes we talked about in the IT department last time and approved. We have the actual paperwork from Mrs. Barnes and for Henry Eater. We have Kelsey Lewis, is no relation, moving along from the tax office. We have Leanne Kellen, is merit grade in the AgriLife Extension Office. We have Miss Ashley Jordan, welcome aboard to the Hill County Tax Office. Mr. William Phillips has moved on to Greater Pastures. And we wish him the best of luck. Nice young man who was in here as the bailiff for a long time. So, Evan Haley is moved along from the sheriff's office, and Jessica Castro is going to separate, and we wish her the best of luck in her future. So those are the payroll wage changes for the.
Make the motion approved.
Motion and second to approve the payroll wage changes for the 13th day of July 2021. I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, the noes have it. 2, discussion action declaring property as surplus salvage for Hill County, Texas. Okay, I've got a couple of different things this morning on this. First is the IT department. We've got a bunch of computer hardware. By that I mean computers, monitors, scanners, switches, some very old servers. So I don't know where you found that even, antiques. So they've all been in storage over the urban building. Apparently they're outdated. We're cleaning out that stuff and we get rid of it. As you know, we have to follow our procurement policy, and the way we get rid of things is to put it out for bid if it's got some value to it. The other thing is we have 3, and I don't know how to describe these accurately. They're rolling. You've seen these large tomes. We have these huge books, old school tomes. There's 3 cabinets, 2 low cabinets with countertops, and 1 shelf cabinet. All of them are kind of in rough shape, but they're not going to be utilized down at the support services building. I've been told by the district clerk, county clerk, we don't need those anymore. So I'm not going to give them away because the new one is how much again? It was 10,000. It was insanely expensive, but they got brass rollers and bearings and stuff in them. So I need to put these things out for sale, but I'm not even certain what to call these.
They're just rolling bookshelves.
Yeah, rolling bookshelves.
I bet you there'll be some.
That's what I'm thinking, is that there'd be another entity that might do something like that. I don't see the general public having a real need for that, but some municipal entity. So I'd like to declare that as surplus material. So the computer salvage, that is surplus. I got one more thing. What was it? I didn't bring it with me. No, we got rid of the final cabinets. That's important. We'll come back to it next time. So that's what we've got so far. Oh, the books. So if any of you ever gone into Covington Street and you've gone in the back, there is approximately 500 legal books back there, or somebody told me the other day that a very heavy wall mural that are outdated. I mean, these books date back to the fire at the county courthouse. They have no value legally whatsoever. However, since there's 500 of them, a document could be made that somebody would give you $1 for it. They might have 500 statues. So I would ask you gentlemen to declare that stuff salvage. If somebody wants it, great, we'll sell it to them. But if not, I need to at least put it out for bid, attempt to get a bid on it. If there's no bid, then we can find a way to recycle and dispose of it, whatever. They'll fit in the recycling dumpster, I'm pretty certain. Some people may want this, but again, there's no value to the county because they're not legally accurate books anymore. So those are the things that I need to declare salvage or surplus today. So computer equipment is surplus. The salvage, forgive me, the rolling bookshelves as surplus, and then books as salvage.
I'll make the motion second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to declare the aforementioned property being computer hardware as salvage property, the approximately 500 old legal books at Covington as salvage property, the Covington Street Annex, and then the rolling bookshelves as surplus property. That is a motion. That was a second. Is there any further discussion on the issue? Riveting topic, I know. All right. In which case, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Number 3 is we want to sell it. I don't know who you're going to get to sell a bunch of junk. I'll be honest with you. So we're going to have to cats to do it. That's my take. I'll make a motion. Sir. Motion and a second to use Caddy Auctioneering to sell the salvage surplus property. Any further? Let me clarify that too. That's really to the books and those. The cabinets we can put out there as well, but I am going to advertise to some local municipalities and counties around us if we have those shelves available. They want those. So, anyway, so we have a motion and a second to use Caddy Auctioneering to sell salvage surplus equipment. Is there any further discussion on the issue? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Any abstention? Motion shall carry. Here is the. Thank you. Number 4, discuss and approve bonds. Today's bonds consist of Mrs. Christy Goodspeed, county clerk. I know, but it's a court clerk bond. Okay, I was worried about how the bond was worded in the second pass. It's not an issue. You're exactly right. That is. And Judge Brazos. Number 2. We have Mr. Philip Contrell as our IT director. And those are the bonds for today.
Make a motion to approve bond.
Motion is second to approve the bonds as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. Moving along with the monthly bank balance report for June of 2021. We started the month off with $8,286,490.96 on hand. We had a net of $1,314,013.80 and a closing balance of $6,972,477.16. That is the month balance report for June.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. And there is a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Number 6, discussion and approved communication system agreement between the city of Fort Worth and Hill County. You guys, that's somebody want to talk on this one? This is the mutual aid. This is actually Tom. He's not here. Yeah.
But Chris is already working on it as well. Also with well, basically this is allows us to use their system. A lot of the other surrounding counties do the same things. Johnson County, Ellis County, it's just to interact with their radio system, which is 800.
Okay.
Get on that channel.
Correct. That's my understanding of reading through this. Is it's simply a high communication system agreement, mutual aid, single use governmental entity. It just allows us the ability to get to the trunk voice radio system in time of emergencies. No cost associated with it. Okay. I don't know. I didn't ask you any questions. Did you get a chance to see the local emergency meeting? Pass it back. Gentlemen, we're gonna sit on that one for a second. We're gonna move right along to number 7. We'll come back to number 6 for action in a minute. Number 7 is consideration and action to reappoint Director of the Fairlands Groundwater Conservation District Board of Directors for a term of 4 years to expire August 2025. Mr. Kent Smith is the appointment we were remaking this morning, and he has said he would serve for a while, but has also voiced that he would like us to find a replacement for him, which I'm completely understanding about. So he's going to step into the gap. I should let you know that Charles Becerra is our other appointment to Prairie Lines. Charles has had some health issues recently, so we keep prayers. He spent a few days in the hospital. I hope he's a little bit at this point. But if there's somebody that's interested in being a director for Hill County, we would look to Prairie Lines Groundwater Conservation District. That role makes policy for the use of the Trinity Aquifer and other aquifers underneath Hill County. I think probably one of the most important jobs they do is management of our water resources. So it would be my motion to consider and to reappoint Mr. Kent Smith as Director of the Prairie Lines Groundwater Conservation District Board of Directors for a 4-year term. Motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Anybody outside can jump in? No? Okay. I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Number 8, discussion and action to authorize the sheriff's office to utilize existing funds to purchase 20 Motorola APX 8000 handheld radios. Come on up, Chief. What you got?
Okay, so over the past 4 months or so, we've been testing and evaluating handheld radios, upgraded handheld radios. We tried the Kenwood. Chris Jackson has actually been the driving force behind this. Corporal Jackson, Sergeant Jackson. We
That's a
tested
good way to get ranked right there.
We tested the Kenwoods, and now we're currently testing the Motorola, which is the APX 8000. These are tri-band, so they operate on UHF, VHF, and then 700-800 megahertz band widths. So all of our current counties that surround us, with the exception of Bosque, have already upgraded their entire radio system. So they're on 800 megahertz, and we cannot currently talk to them directly via our radio system. Our portable radios that we currently use don't get out every place. We've tried some Band-Aid fixes with some repeaters in our cars, but even still, dead spots exist. So we were looking for an alternative, going to upgrade to a more modern radio than the ones that we currently use. The APX 8000, Chris has been testing it, and so is Matt Quinn. They can't find a place in the county where they won't work. Is that correct, Chris?
Chisholm Trail.
Number 1104.
Chisholm Trail.
So
Working Chisholm Trail.
Seriously. 1104 would work.
I haven't been out there, but Chisholm Trail, yes, that was one of the areas we did test.
Interesting.
Other than obvious places where radio transmission is not going to get out, like basement or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean,
Outside,
control.
yes.
Okay, you haven't found a dead spot yet, because that is going to be unique in our history.
We went down to Mount Hall and transmitted to Mount Hall. Okay. Without having to hold it overhead.
we've had Matt Quinn was at Providence Hospital and heard broadcast. He couldn't get out, but he could receive it, and it clear as a bell. So these radios are very good. In addition to the county, I had them, drive the major thoroughfares leaving our county to see how far they can go outside our county and still transmit. If you remember, I believe it was 3 months ago to the day, Constable Cordell was shot. At the end of that chase in Alvarado, our portable radios weren't working. So when Jackson and Quinn got up there, standing beside me, they could talk on the radio with our dispatch on our channel. So whereas our portable radios couldn't get out. So we would have to go back to the car in order to transmit. So I think this is a vital improvement. I think it's a necessary purchase. We intend to make it with funds that we currently have existing in our budget. Initially, I said salary savings. It won't cover the whole amount, but I think it will cover a good part of that. We still need to get with Susan to see other places within our budget that we can pull from, but but we believe that we have the funds available to make this purchase.
Okay, we're talking a big number here, obviously.
It's a, I'm sorry, it's a $111,709 and 4 pennies.
So it comes out to about 5,600 for radio. Of course, radios aren't cheap. I mean, they're just not. And do we have one bid? Do we have any other sourcing on pricing?
So these are, we can get these through a buy board, which is the Houston Galveston Area Council, so we don't have to go out to competitive bids. We can purchase them straight through that. Now, these radios will allow us to talk to our neighbors. In fact, Chris has already, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, he's already done the legwork, talked to Johnson County, talked to Ellis County and then learning about getting their channels program onto our system.
What about cost to long term? I mean, after the purchase price of the radios, what are we looking at for recurring costs for getting on other people's channels?
There's no, that's just an interoperability. I mean, that's just an MOU.
Okay.
If we're gonna be talking with somebody else's channel to them, is that what you mean?
Yeah, because a couple years ago, we explored going to this 800 megahertz system. It's obviously panicked. I mean, it's clearer, it's a better way to communicate, but the expense associated with that time, not only mentioned the county around us we talked to, but they were going to charge us $25 per channel per month, which obviously is a recurring cost that's more expensive to deputy salaries and accoutrement. So I just want to make sure we're not going to find ourselves in a situation going forward where we're going to have some anticipated budget consequences.
No, so that would probably be a request potentially down the road that we want to upgrade our system. Whether we do it ourselves or whether we piggyback on Fort Worth or McLean County. And one charges, one doesn't charge. I think we're just too far removed from Fort Worth for that.
So to answer your question, that's the county to the south, and that we backboard that, they will give any surrounding county access to the call bid channels, which is on their same radio system. And so that way their dispatch or something will have to be patched to the main channel.
Correct.
The cost comes into would if we wanted access to the main channel. And that's what we're not doing at this point in time.
Okay, so we're just doing the patch bill, the same thing we have in our dispatch currently.
They're just giving us access as they do for any surrounding agency to their bid channels on their system.
Okay.
And that way we can have access without having to pay.
So what we're just trying to do is get our infrastructure set or get our equipment set up. These radios will be with us well in the future. Our other ones, I mean, our commission, are live on the antiques.
Susan, you want to be able to pull this off financially?
I can look at the budget. They say they have the money,
It's going to come from salary, non-expenditure salary lines, obviously. Yeah, and then there'll be some other lines you guys think you will well below. I don't think you'll be one of them this year, but
I'll make a motion. I was wondering if, seemed like we've had some other stuff similar to this. Do we need some kind of way to attack how we get all the radios up to where they should be?
So
Or we just seem like we're piecemeal it. So for me, I think we need some kind of.
good question. So we were looking at getting the 20 would be for our operations. That's gonna be the officers or deputies rather that are out in the field. We are in our current budget looking at purchasing some more to equip the rest of our deputies basically. We are going to repurpose our existing ones for the jail.
how many total portables do you foresee needing in the next year? I mean, cover everybody that you would need.
In the next budget, we are going to ask for 10. And then yeah,
So 30 is a good start, is what you're saying.
it's good. But I think we can get there pretty quickly.
The judge mentioned whatever system, I'm not familiar with the way.
800 megahertz. Yeah, we spent a considerable amount of money on radio interoperability communications in the last several years. Most of it's been grant funds just because of the expense of it. We've recently upgraded our repeater system. We went from analog to digital. Before that, we upgraded the tower. Before that, we went from narrow wideband to federal mandate to everybody go narrowband. So we've seen some pretty significant changes in the last 10 years in how we operate through our radio communications. you know, a large part of that, the drive has been between the sheriff's office and obviously Mr. Henry is not with us this morning. I'm on that end, but I can start seeing the time where we need to start putting a committee together about communications here. And what is our overall plan? I think Mr. Henry and the sheriff have done a great job, so I don't think I'd take anything away from what my comments are. But because of the expense that we're looking at, you know, it was 300, what was it, cost that tower, it's almost $350,000 for this tower, and that was grant funded. Then this radio project was several $100,000 to get the repeaters, and again, grant funded. But now we're at the point where we're not seeing as much of that type of grant funds. The grant funds are being directed to different areas, and we're going to have to start shelving up the lines with these radio equipment. You know, and that's just the handhelds. At some point, we're going to talk about car radios, directors, and yeah, I know those.
When Jeff Lyons was sheriff, he was trying to tell us, that's a long time ago, we were so far behind in radio and communication, we couldn't talk to anybody, but we tell it and we could barely do that. And he said, we got to be digital by 2013. That didn't happen. So in 2013, we could still not talk to anybody around us but ourselves. So if you have a situation where you're after somebody like Cordell did, you're on your own. You have nobody to help you because nobody can hear you, nobody can talk to you. Even with this upgrade, this is only what I consider normal level. I mean, we'd be on the same level as everybody else.
Well,
I'm pretty impressed that we've done that.
You've never hit no problem ahead. It's like keeping up with the Joneses. Every time we get to the next thing, the guys in front of us jump up to the next thing.
Yeah.
So when we got up to all digital, away from the analog, guess what? At that point, most of our neighbors are starting to go 800.
Yeah.
We've had an 800 channel for years. It just wasn't used, and really doesn't have the bandwidth to do anything. To be frank with you. So we're going to have to make this move forward. There's just no way around it. It's just making sure that we've got the financial position to do it. I hate piecemeal things, but again, how do we go about it and take on more debt? See that being an option.
Is this compatible with where we're headed?
I think so. It absolutely is. I mean, that's the only way we're going to talk to our neighbors. It's the only efficient way. It's not the only way we're going to talk. But you know, if you got to stop, pick up the phone, dial a number to get their dispatch to plug you through. We have some emergency stop gaps right now. We have the ability to merge radios in our dispatch. But again, that takes training with dispatchers and knowing what's going to happen. And at the same time, it's not always feasible to patch an entire channel through. You're really only trying to get one person. So there's some limitations to that technology as well. All right, there's a motion and a second, further discussion on the issue. So the one thing on this, I'm going to put a caveat to make sure Ms. Susan has all 100, you know, 7,904 cents. That's 4 cents that we can sticker about. But anyway, all right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I have a suggestion. I would go out and start trying on these comments here.
It is not what I want here. And maybe there's not a lot of players out there. And that's why we went with the two that were in town. At the end of the day, Motorola is the one that rose to the top. The Kenwood was good. I'll let Chris talk about that if he wants. The Motorola was better. They have noise canceling. I mean, not that Kenwood didn't, but we were comparing apples to apples here. So, you know, we have the ability to do it on using the HGAC. It doesn't require competitive bids. I don't know that we would get 3. I guess maybe Ericsson or Ericsson.
Ericsson, around.
Okay, sorry, Motorola. Yeah. It's where you guys based out?
Warren Judge, Commissioner, my name's Casey Moore. I was out of College, Texas. I've been in Motorola about 22 years. I'm a local account manager. My background's engineering. So a couple of points on the pricing. So it's HGAC, but it also has a 20% discount that we extended through Fort Worth contract. So Fort Worth made their initial system purchase about 12 years ago. They negotiated with us a substantial discount because they bought about $40 million worth of product from us. And so part of their agreement was anybody that's going to come on as a user of the system, you must extend this 20% discount off of HGAC. We've applied that here on this proposal. So that's present as well. It's not just HGAC, it's an additional 20% off of that. And so as far as the interoperability of the systems and then forward, neither one of them charge for interop use mutual aid. That the ILA that you have there, it just says, yeah, you can come on, use the interoperability channels. If you're an active user, they would have a fee associated with that. As far as players out there in the industry, it's really come down to E.F. Johnson, Harris, and local. I put our product against anybody from the performance specification. Go for it. I think we'll outperform anybody out there. And we came out and did a couple of radios to the sheriff's office and said, yeah, program them, put them through its paces. It's a mission critical radio designed for public safety P25 standards. It's forward looking. It's our leading product right now.
So you've done the groundwork or testing to see which one of those three would work.
Yes, Chris has more background than just law enforcement. He was also a jailer before, and he's also a telecommunications dispatcher. So he has very good, well-rounded knowledge. He is the one that started this, so blame him. But he tested Kenwood, and probably about the same amount of time initially, about a month or so. Then Motorola gave us. We went with Kenwood initially; they were fairly open, and then Motorola gave these two to test and evaluate. And I believe these have also GPS capabilities.
Capabilities, and to be clear on GPS, you have to have back-end infrastructure to get that information out of the systems. The radios receive GPS and they'll show you the coordinates on the radio, but if you want to show them on a map, you have to, the radios to send it into the system, there has to be some backup equipment to get that out. Just make sure.
So that'd be additional.
That's
Down the road.
That's it. These radios have a lot of unlocked potential that we're not using right now. That later on, for instance, say that we should grant the ability to upgrade our radio tower, and there would be a whole new world as far as radio communications that we have these radios that Motorola offers. Seeing that firsthand, working at my radio when I was a dispatcher at, I saw these. Well, actually, I think it was a 7,000, are no longer made. Just was the lesser version of what I have on my head. This version is the upgraded version of what I dealt with very all the time. And saw this mess out of it, the functionality for the future is amazing. But I will say, as far as the testing of other versions of similar products, we did test the I believe it was E.F. Johnson, the Viking model, which is the subsidiary of Kenwood, which is what Kenwood offers for the 800, 700, 800 megahertz type of things. Went to Chisholm Trail and Mount Palm, as well as into Cleburne. And those were the three areas that I tested the same spot, but not the same spot, on each radio as far as the current Kenwood, Motorola, and the Viking series from E.F. Johnson. Only Motorola was the one that was able to get out to the same spot every time. And I'll add the caveat to that, as well as when we had the tornado in Cologne, just about a month ago, I had the Motorola bit, and I didn't even think about it at the time. I was on 174, and I had the radio on my head. And typically, up at that part of the woods, we have to take the radio off our head to go talk on our head. And on the head, literally, as the tornado just went through, there were still high winds. I was able to get through the joint dispatch through 174.
That's new.
What's the difference in pricing on the other three? I realize the quality is going to be from Motorola. What is the difference in pricing?
On the Kenwood,
Yeah.
that's the other one that we tested. I think we're paying for less than $1,000 on the ones they currently have.
Yeah, the current Kenwoods are like, I think, $900 today's.
No, the ones that you tested, these radios that you tested. Did you test those besides Motorola?
Yes, Kenwood has to be looking at the price on that one. It's less. It's less.
But no, it's good.
Yes.
Didn't get out.
What
Then
kind of
we're
system,
right where we are now. About it.
what kind of system is the constable?
They're they're the same system everybody's using, the digital main channel that we have. So, do you have handhelds too? On those walls you got? No, you got the two there, so
They have the same rating.
I have the old Motorola.
you have the same, like I have built.
So
think it was issued like that's in there for.
Mine came with the
Out of curiosity, Road, when they're talking about the whatever system, what are we talking about in the future we're looking at?
So you guys are, it's definitely significant investments, but the region around you has grown. So Fort Worth initially seeded what we call a master site. Think of a large complex cellular network. So it's the brains of the operation. It can support up to 150 radio tower sites. Going back 20 years, everybody really kind of had these speed phones like, this is my radio system, this is yours, we're not sharing, this is my taxpayer dollars. Fort Worth saw it come in with the FCC and the Project 25 standards. So they partnered with Irving. Irving bought a master site, they connected them together. And so previously, like cities, and I'm speaking to the Metroplex, so they grew out in there. Arlington, Grand Prairie, the Northeast Tarrant County, they built sites. They previously all had their own systems. They saved a tremendous amount of money by connecting in. And by having them connected in, now you have pretty much all of Tarrant County. Dallas just purchased as well, bought a master site to plug in. So Tarrant and Dallas County are completely covered. Johnson County joined in. Ellis County recently joined in. Parker has their own system, but they're plugging and joined in. So you have this multi-county system that's all connected. And you can go anywhere in the system to talk. It's industry standards. It's supported and maintained. And so now for you guys, what would that mean? Possibly just a radio tower site to plug in, and then you could take, because you have a lot of overlapping coverage from Ellis and Johnson into your. McLennan's their own system. They don't connect in directly, but we now have a new solution called Critical Connect, which we connect systems in the cloud, and the two systems operate as one. And the regional system now has that. So we call it the North Texas Interoperability Radio Network. So the Fort Irving and Dallas systems all connect into this Critical Connect cloud. McLennan will most likely do that because the state is looking at bringing all the systems together. At that point, you drop a radio site in your county, you already get significant coverage. So it's not an investment with the others going ahead of you. It's actually a huge savings for you if you guys decide to do that down the road. That's basically most likely.
You said it's huge savings. What's the capital cost on that?
Oh, on our side, it's expensive.
Maybe 5 being said on last time.
Well, it depends on what we did. Let's say a radio side, if you already had a tower, you guys probably get about 6 channels. Community meetings are looking at $750,000, around $750K, maybe $1 million, but out of the ballpark, probably $750.
I know that, we're looking at when radio systems come up, interoperability has been the key words. Go through the early 2000s and 10s and suddenly interoperability. And so that Texas, to a large degree, is based on its planning units or its regional councils of government. So the reason our radio system is set up the way it is where the emergency care committee down emergency management coordinator of all 6 counties in our area set up, and they put this system together over the years because it allowed us to talk to each other in our 6 county radio. McLennan County, first originally Waco went off on their own, got 800, and McLennan County joined into that system. Again, more resource rich, that's easier for them to do, for us to do, to say the least. We're still in a position where we set up to talk with all of our neighbors. You got to think we put a power up in 1973. It wasn't until we got grant funds in 2013 to replace that tower. So it's been slow, but we've seen some pretty major moves in the last few years. I would say that we're in a good place, but we can definitely be in a better place moving forward. It's just a matter of how we handle these things. Budget savings at the end of the year, that's okay. That's a thing that we were projected to spend that money. It's not additional on top of the budget. It just wasn't spent we thought it would be. The question is how do we form a plan going forward and get everybody on board with that plan? Because I don't want to spend some money on something today to find out in a year or 2 years from now that wasn't a part that we needed in the system and we wasted those tax dollars. Or just wasn't interoperable. We got to change it. Right. Part of my concern is what is the lifespan of this 8,000? You said they don't make the 7,000 anymore.
So typically we'll support a product from 10 to 12 years from release. 8,000 out for a few years.
How many do you please?
At least 3.
Okay.
So not 10. It's not 10. No, it's a new product. So it's, and we won't necessarily publish a date, so we just don't know. We try to keep a product in active support. So
what happens
ourselves.
What happens in your life?
When we cancel a product, we do a 5-year commercially best effort support. So we'll publish a cancellation notice and we'll publish a last time buy and a last time into support. It's usually 5 years, sometimes we'll extend it to 7. And we're pretty good about forecasting that. So we basically have contracts with all of our suppliers that say you shall put this in place. Now, anything's possible. I mean, it's got a commercially available clause in there because we can't get something like a chip or something that could cause a problem, but we're usually pretty good about that, and it's a $500 flat rate repair after that. So we will repair it. If we can repair it, we'll repair it. If not, we can't. But usually 5 years after. So we look at, you're pretty looking at least 13, 14 years probably with this product.
So what is your warranty on the product currently? Say if I want to be brand new to me tomorrow.
So we have lots of options. This quote is a 3-year. So you're warranted. We can go up to 5. We can do accidental damage too as well. But normally I include 3-year because that's, you know, they're a rugged product. I mean, you typically don't have any real issues, but 3 years, you know, it's about $100 per radio, maybe a little bit more, and it's listed on the quote. Standard warranty is 1 year. You know, I added 3 years. Just I think it's a good for the price. I think it's a good value. You know, personally, you know, I'm obviously the vendor. I think the investment in the radio is, you know, it's a Project 25 radio. I don't think you're going to go wrong in investing, whether it's a Motorola or whomever. Getting the quality Project 25 radio is a good investment. It's going to be there for whatever you do in the infrastructure. I find it hard to see you guys do anything else like going to P25 for the next 10 or 15 years.
So we're P25 compliant currently.
Right, you are down there, conventional and VHF, and you move to the trunk in the 7800. So investment in the handhelds is not a, you know, bad use of money. The big question is where you want infrastructure wise down the road, and how do you do. I agree, having a committee in place would make a lot of sense. You know, one thing as far as funding, you might be aware that the ARP funds do allow you to spend those on first responder needs as well. So there's
I know it's our premium say, but I'd like to see your argument for the radios because if it's there.
It is there. We have several customers that are pursuing that right now. Or
You'll have to lead the people some rational.
our government aware of that information. I mean, you still have to check the boxes that it's showing that it's how you can help over response, but everything vaccine deployments to support your fire. The customers still have to be comfortable with the audit piece of it. But once you check that first box, it lets you spend that on public safety. Good to know. So thank you.
So if this is $750,000 for the upgrade, do you all lease those?
So we don't lease the equipment like in the traditional sense, but it'd be a debt. You know, we have a municipal lease offering, so it's a lease purchase. It's a lease purchase. You know, we would hold title until the lease paid off, but it's very flexible, very competitive rates. I think we're around 3% right now. We do 3, 5, 7 payment arrears. You know, penalty payoff early. We have a little bit of flexibility. It's our own credit card.
So you're talking about over 100,000.
Depends on the returns. It depends on either 5, 7, or 10 years.
When you said 7, it's $350,000, that's a little over 100,000.
Yeah, if you did 7 years. All right.
All right, anything else, Trevor? Any more discussion on this subject? There's been a motion and a second. If there's nothing further, I'll call question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Then let's go back to the number 6, discuss and approve communications agreement. Our attorney has given his blessing. Forgive me, David, for getting you late on the back. So I'm saying, that's a pretty good language in there. So anyway, there's a motion. Is there a second to approve the agreement with between the city of Fort Worth and Hill County? Motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Abstention. Motion carried. I will sign this in a minute too. All right, moving back along to number 9. Discuss interaction purchase of real property.
Deputy Courthouse.
Yes, Deputy Courthouse. Call them the plus in the back of my quote. All right, so we have what we previously talked about. As we talked, we have the Rebuild America Act funds. One of the allowable expenses in that fund is to buy warehousing space in preparation for future pandemics. This particular warehouse is up the road here on Waco Street. We have previously been approved to make an offer on it. It is a qualified census tract. It is a warehouse operation, or it will be a warehouse. It's approximately 40 by 60 building with a loading dock and about 100 acres of property with it exactly. What's that? So that, the price, the original offer, we've negotiated back and forth, they have accepted an offer of $175,000 from the county for the building and the 1.13 acres, which frankly, we couldn't buy the building for that. Yeah, we're getting told where other things are. So what my proposal to do is, gentlemen, is to accept this commercial contract between Pipeline Properties LLC and Polk County, Texas, for the sale of an improved property located, or as known as ID Houston Abstract 392 Tract 35, which is on Waco Street. It's 505 North Waco Street.
Got a motion?
That's a motion. Motion the second to purchase this property at 505 North Waco Street with, yes.
How quickly you're going to want to close on this? Since I'm in the mode of giving them proper advice, I would pull everything for soil cores on this property before you buy it. Case for environmental.
Okay, so just make our agreement, our contract, or contingent upon contingency that, can't speak anymore, put a contingency clause that as long as it passes environmental inspection. Okay.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, good idea. So that,
Of course,
correct, we just have a geotechnical, I think geotechnical, engineer is the right word for it, have somebody go out and just do an environmental survey to make sure we're not buying something we shouldn't.
we're supposed to have a company agree tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's something to think about. This property is in proximity of the old railroad track, is the reason we're looking at that. There was, what's that? Yeah, they're across the road, yeah, they'll, as you know, the Katy Railroad split at Hillsborough for many years. Line now goes north to Fort Worth, but used to it also split up north of town and past Industrial Park, across the interstate out to Dallas. And the railroads, while beneficial, had a long history of kind of varying things. Well, this wasn't railroad property, it's next to it, so I see our attorney's advice is good advice, and I recommend that we put a contingency clause in this contract for environmental purposes. That's the motion. Sure. Motion and a second to approve a contract with Pipeline Properties LLC to purchase a property at 505 North Waco Street with the contingency clause that the property pass an environmental inspection. That's good. All right, good deal. That's the motion and second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion shall carry. I appreciate that. Number 10, discussion or action to approve contract with Solutions 2. Solutions 2 is Spillman Managed Services. I just wondered who it was. I didn't have a briefing here. It's a little light, you know?
Commissioners, so currently with the Spillman computer-aided dispatch system, we have software support for the Spillman software itself. So any issues with the Spillman software, they can remote in and take a look at what's going on. Whenever this system was installed, they used a company called Solutions 2 who came out and physically installed the hardware. And there are virtual machines that run on physical hardware. So there's basically virtual computers that run on a physical computer. In that initial contract, we got 5 hours of support from Solutions 2 in the event that anything went wrong with the virtual machines or the physical hardware itself. That 5 hours is good Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If something went down at 6 o'clock on a Friday night, we have no support. We're down till we can make a phone call on Monday morning. This is I think everyone, law enforcement here would agree, this is probably the most critical system in the county. It needs to be up 24/7, 365. I have the money in my budget to purchase this additional support. They are going to actively monitor the system. They're going to make sure that the backups are happening. They're going to support us around the clock if anything was to go down. So I'm asking for your approval to implement this contract with Solutions 2.
And of course, all software support is expensive, so $24,333.
And that's kind of an odd thing. I asked them to, I was kind of trying to fill the gap. So actually I worked with Jackson's gone now, but I worked with Jackson just a few weeks ago because it did go down after hours. But I asked for a 3-month, I was kind of trying to fill the gap for this last quarter of this fiscal year, and then another 12 months. I was basically starting a new contract after October 1. For whatever reason, he gave it to me in the form of a 15-month contract. So it was 24,333, I think is what the number is.
And so while we didn't initially budget for that, we have that savings because we're killing some other older programs like, for example, the on-base program that's not, but we no longer need those because of the new databases. So there'll be no trade-off.
That's correct. Yeah, I've been able to save significantly on other line items in the budget. So I mean, I have funds.
We have a motion from Commissioner Montgomery, a second from Commissioner Lake to approve the Spillman Managed Services Agreement with Solutions 2. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion shall carry. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I'm going to get this filled out now. All right, moving on, number 11, discuss their action on geotechnical engineers proposal. As you will recall, gentlemen, we entered an agreement with MRB Group for the construction of 2 annexes. Exclusionary item in those agreements, though, were the geotechnical. They can't perform their own geotechnical and engineer slack for it. We have to hire a third party. We went out, and the one that can get to us inside the next 3 months is the Hooper Group, Inc. And they are out of Dallas, Texas, and they have submitted a proposal for the subsurface investigation for the addition at Covington Street and for the Stadium Drive. They have the wrong city on there, but they have the right addresses, and it is approximately it is $2,200 per site, which seems to be in line with what we're being told from others. And it's my recommendation that we approve the proposals from the Hooper Group for geotechnical site services, so we can get that going and get it to our engineers. Motion and a second. Any further questions?
Can we use these to do the deal on?
I don't know if they offer that service, so I need to consult or any of all these guys and see, hey, do they offer those environmental testing services? I just need to look into that. I wasn't prepared to answer that question this morning, but I will get some information on that. Get back to you. All right, so there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion on retaining the Hooper Group to conduct consulting geotechnical engineering services at the Stadium Drive and the Covington Street sites? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion shall carry. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get up and take a 5-minute break and stretch my legs for just a second. More importantly, I'm going to get some more coffee. So mingle amongst yourselves. We will be in recess for about 5 minutes, and we will come back in here at approximately 9. And I'll say 40.
To the city approves.
We're going to be having.
Yes.
I put the office I have warrants in what time is the day? So we're going Yes, yeah, I guess it was just one. He reached out to me.
And if your family.
Yeah, I'll, I'm supposed to, I don't know. I've got 3 boys.
Ooh, you better rock on.
Well, this thing got out of hand quick, 20 items on the thinking agenda. And we had 17 last week.
Well, I'm gonna say, if you hadn't done last week, it'd been 37.
I don't like those days. Hey, Ryan, get him with baseball so he don't embarrass us.
So if you get your glove out, I'm running a little practice.
Front yard. Get my catcher mitt.
We're gonna stop some big gravel out by the annex and the ball field. We can do shuffle across the way to 24, 52.
Four months.
Okay. Okay.
Everybody each council.
Okay, cool. There, so we're gonna those, attached to start a revenue. Okay, 6-month budget report. We'll around that next time. Gonna look for agreement with the city. We're gonna take a pass on this. Okay. Because we need to do some more to it. Installation temporary construction, we will take a pass on that as well. That's, yes, we'll pass on that as well. So we'll give you an discussion report on that. But that's. Thanks for putting that note in. Yeah. That's good. All right, we got turn and burn. We got 10 o'clock court hearing in here. So we got about 2 minutes to go.
So who can?
That's gonna be awesome.
It's called.
Yeah.
So you did.
Yes. Cool state.
Whatever, but. These things were started in 1937 up to 1945.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
See what last time they gave us. Yeah, it's way cheap. It's going down. Like all things. All right, ready? All right, we're going to call this meeting of the Hill County Commissioners Court back from recess. Let the record reflect that it is 9:43, actually 5 minutes on the dot when we left last. That is not 9:43, forgive me. It's 9:37, I apologize. So we are going to, as a continuation of the meeting that started this morning, July 13th, 2021. Our next order of business is discuss and approve a replat of land between the lakes. What we have, gentlemen, is a single lot in a subdivision called Land Between the Lakes. Our county surveyor, who, by the way, intends to put some recompense in this budget for Mr. Ince because of the yeoman's work he's doing. He's reviewing all of these and these plats. He's a licensed surveyor and a stamped engineer. He goes through this stuff and lets us know what affects it and what doesn't. This particular replat is simply a lot 12R, and it has no effect to the county. And our surveyor says you may approve.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion second to approve replat of lot 12R, a total of 1.64 acres in the land between the lake subdivision. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion shall carry. I'm going to go ahead and send these two around. You guys can sign those. Number 13 is discussion and approve final plat of Riverside Acres. Gentlemen, we've gone through this. We put the Riverside Acres edition. This is a private road. They put language in their covenants whereby the county is not responsible for maintaining this road in any form or fashion, or will ever be responsible for maintaining this road in any form or fashion. And at this time, it's a recommendation of the plat committee to approve the final plat of Riverside Acres edition.
Make a motion approved.
Have a motion and a second to approve the final plat of Riverside Acres addition. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. So this one here. Small flat size, original. Good to go. All right, number 14 is discuss and approve certification of revenues. We have revenues for district attorney forfeited property in the amount of $9,542 that had not been. And we have, is that the only? Yep. That's certification revenue. So all in favor of I'm sorry, is there a motion to approve certification revenue? Motion. Second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Now we move on to budget amendments. Budget amendments, the aforementioned $90,542, $89,000 will go to law enforcement, $1,442 goes to agreed default judgment. In the county clerk's records, we're going to move approximately $12,000 from postage, and we're going to add that to part-time wages and supplies. And budget amendment for Martin Lake, we're going to move money from maintenance, fuel, capital outlay, and repairs, and put that money in bridge infrastructure, construction materials, contract services, and repairs. Those are the budget amendments as proposed.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the aforementioned budget amendments. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Sorry, there's a 10 o'clock court here after this, and I'm trying to get through, so I don't make the district judge wait. I can have a lot of people mad at me, but the district judge is not one I approve of. So number 16, discuss and approve monthly report for fee offices. In your packet, you have that for review from your tax assessor collector and multiple others. So that is your monthly report for fee offices. Is there a motion to observe the report?
Motion to observe the report. Second.
Motion is second to observe the report, monthly report from the fee offices. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number 17, discuss and approve budget report. You have that in your packet. Something I recommend you all look over. The auditors take time to put that together for us to tell us where we're at. Year to date, we're in good shape. Our projected balances are slightly up. Our only place that we're down somewhat is our jury fund. Again, the jury fund, we always pump money into it. It's court-appointed lawyers, and it's all state mandated. So it's another one of those unfunded mandates that we don't get around. But overall, we look to be in pretty good shape. Is there a motion to observe the report?
Make a motion to.
Motion to approve.
Observe the report.
Second by Commissioner Montgomery to observe and report the 6-month budget report. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number 18 is discussion and action on interlocal agreement between Hill County and the city of Hillsborough for construction and or maintenance of roads within the corporate limits and extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Hillsborough. So this doesn't mean we're going out and paving roads or building roads for Hillsborough. What this means is we have a county road. So Hillsborough owns both ends of it because it comes out of their jurisdiction and back into their jurisdiction. We have a legal right to maintain this road. However, our council thinks it's a better idea if we get an interlocal agreement so everybody knows what we're doing. Time of the same sort. Transparency is always the best policy. And this interlocal agreement is going to apply to several different things, but mainly the first idea is for the Kirby Road project. So this interlocal agreement, if we approve it, there will be work orders that will come later. We'll discuss those in a second. If we approve it, then the city will have to approve. Once they approve, we can come back and approve our work orders.
Make a motion.
Have a motion?
I'm not
Second.
ready to-
Yeah, he's ready. It's good to go with it. So we have a motion and a second to approve an interlocal agreement between Hill County and the city of Hillsborough for construction and the maintenance of roads within corporate limits or extraterritorial jurisdiction. Is there any further discussion of the local agreement? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Now, the last two items, we're not going to take action on. We're going to pass them because the city has to approve the interlocal agreement before we do, and they've not able to meet yet. But I put them on here so we can discuss what they are. So the first is the work improvement to Kirby Road. The city is going to work with us because they have both ends. Kirby Road is gravel road that leads out by Frank's Metal Recycling, and it comes back in on 310 between the subdivision and the mushroom plant. They have both ends of that road. They're going to contribute $35,000, and we're in return we're going to take the rock and put that rock on the road, not only on our portion, but their portion of the road, and make sure that we make passable road for the citizens of Hill County. I know that road's kind of in rough repair, but as population increases,
It's increasing and it needs to be fixed.
okay. So again, we'll take that up at our next meeting after the city approves their interlocal agreement. Number 20 is discussion or action on work order for the installation of a temporary construction road for Boys and Girls Club construction. This is a conversation we've had back and forth. We're going to donate the county's time and haul and rock. The Boys and Girls Club would reimburse the county for the cost of materials. I believe this is a community good. That Boys and Girls Club touches a lot of kids, and every one of those kids that touches is a less likelihood that they're going to wind up in this courtroom. So we spend $1,000 on trucking, putting a temporary road in to help them out so that they get those services. We're going to save 100 times that in the future. Just that makes a difference in one child's life if they don't wind up in this courtroom. So I think it's something that we need to heavily consider doing. Again, we'll bring that up at our next meetings because we don't have Hillsborough signature on our local agreement, but those are the two work orders. And that, gentlemen, is all that I have for you today. I'm going to go down to Waco and sit in the classroom for the rest of the day. Yay.
You're up. I'm not going. You're up.
You're not going to
Make a motion.
I thought you weren't going.
I make a motion. To
We have a motion, and there is a second. Second, thank you. Motion second. Thank you for your attention.
I've got my hours and I'm ready.
I'm going up.
Here's the-